Welcome to the For Posterity podcast with me, LG Davies, the platform where we grow, learn, and build our legacies together. Have you ever seen a kite, like in the townships, where kids play with kites? I'm not sure if you've ever seen that. If you're down South Africa, you'll know what I'm talking about. For everyone, like across the globe, it's not the normal kites that you'll see on movies and stuff. The kites that you'd see in the townships down in South Africa, it's just a sight to behold. To this day, if I see a kite in the sky, like something within myself would just like stir up and I would get excited. Like I would have to stop myself from pulling on the side of the road if I'm driving to just admire and see what's going to happen. So for me, playing kite was just like, it wasn't just a normal hobby. It was something that I truly enjoyed. My parents used to say that if I'm playing kite, that nothing would get me to get into the house. Not rain, not storms, nothing would get me to stop playing kite and sit in the house. That was the first thing that I fell in love with completely. To this day, I still enjoy playing kite. I haven't played kite in a long time. I think 20 years. It might even be longer than that. But playing kite was something that literally defined me in my earlier days. And my first business started out of that. So context, my two aunts and my grandmother, they both worked at a factory that made garments. So needless to say, they both had access to so much string. The problem that I had is when I started playing kite and I started falling in love with it, I didn't know how to make my own kite. But most of my friends that I played with, they were boffins. They were the gurus of making kites. And I couldn't make my own kite. So I had to pay people to make kites. The biggest problem that you will have in the townships with kids playing kite is resources. Yes, you can find like the sticks and the plastic, but like having nylon or string to play your kite, it was a rare resource that a lot of people and kids didn't have. I had that. So I had to trade string for kites. And that's basically why the business started, bartering, I would say. And eventually I learned how to make my own kite. So I didn't need to trade anymore because now I could make my own kite. But I still had string. And I decided I'm going to sell it. So basically, the way we used to fly kites is you'd find a can, baked beans can or coffee can or whatever. And you'll roll the string onto that can. And that was basically what you'll use to fly your kite. And I had to sell string. So we basically had people coming to us with their cans. We'll tie it on for them. And we'll give them 1 minute, 60 seconds to roll up as much string as they can within that time. Time is done. We cut it and then we move. That's the end of it. So that business was quite successful until my suppliers found out that I stole the string. My suppliers being my aunts and my grandmother and my mother. And the business basically came to like a halt. I would say that would be the authorities coming in and disrupting the whole business. And from there, like I wouldn't necessarily say that's been a lot of examples of me being in business since that time until I started my own business. But I've always been around and I've always been conscious about anything surrounding any form of business. If I saw the guy fixing tire repairs and whatever, like I would see that as like a business. Like the guy like all these little things always stood out for me in one form or the other. I would always like make sums and stuff like, how much is the guy making? Like, is he profitable? Is this business working? Like the guy cutting hair, I'm like, okay, there's 5 people sitting here. Let's say you got 10 people. Like I would always do those calculations to see if like this business is profitable. What can they do better? And eventually when I finished my schooling, I studied marketing and it kind of just grew from there. The first business that I went to go work for was a startup. And in that, it exposed me to different levels and different, I'll say, facets of business. And I think that kind of just nurtured and it kind of just fed this whole desire that I have for everything surrounding business in any form. So I've always been surrounded with some form of business. And that kind of just grew this whole thing up. Another side of myself is I've always wanted to improve my community. And that's been something that's kind of been like burned within of that. I've always been excited about developing my community. And that has all been something that I've always wanted to do. And I never really knew how to do it. So I thought like I'm going to start my own business and I'll employ all these people that are unemployed and that will change the community. And later I found out like there's different programs and organizations that's got the same mission of growing up my community. And that kind of brought the social aspect to what it is that I love. And that just set me on another trap. But anyway, I love business. I love doing what I'm doing. And my purpose is to grow this platform to the point that everybody that engages with it will take something away from it. Whether it will be running their own business, improving themselves in their careers, but also just trying to be passionate about developing the people in their community.